Hi, I created Ai-rcade for my Stackathon. It is a suite of classic arcade games with AI players using Tensorflow.js. So what I started off with was a pong game that someone had built and then swapped out a computer model for an AI and then swapped out the AI on my side, or the computer on my side, with a player that you can interact with. So here we have Pong. You actually have a TensorFlow AI model playing against me in real time right now. Most of the games that are available with TensorFlow.js right now work along kind of one axis. That's the tutorials you can find online. And what I wanted to do was sort of take the logic from those games and try to build out a game where I actually have an AI player that can traverse a grid. And so I used someone's snake game written in JavaScript in 90 lines, and I imported TensorFlow.js and started training a snake to find the candy. At this point, unfortunately, my snake is really good at just running into the wall. So in future iterations, that will be fixed. But I just want to talk a little bit about TensorFlow.js and how I integrated it into my application. So the good thing about TensorFlow.js compared to an earlier model, which is just TensorFlow, is that it's actually designed entirely for training and running in the browser. So with TensorFlow, you actually would have to have you would have to have a graphics card, and anytime someone wanted to interact with your model, you would need to host their information, their data, and then also host the inference. So as they were using your model, they would actually be using your processing power. With TensorFlow.js, actually it can take information from the browser, do the processing within the browser, and then produce essentially a good user experience that's tailored for a client who doesn't need to share their data with a server or anyone else's back end. And so what I ended up doing for this is build my own TensorFlow model. And I just want to tell you a little bit about neural networks, because that's what we're really building with TensorFlow.js. I found these illustrations really helpful. So what you need to do actually in TensorFlow is construct a model with multiple layers. So you would have an input layer. I will use my mouse. An input layer over here, and then some hidden layers, and then you would activate here and then get an output of some kind. So you would need to input tensors, and you're also going to get tensors as an output. So for the Pong game, you actually would input, for instance, the coordinates of your paddle, the other paddle, and then the ball in order to train it. So what I wanted to do with my snake game was actually create a model where I'm passing in the location, the coordinates of the candy that the snake needs to find, the snake head, and then create the hidden layers necessary. So what the hidden layers are essentially doing is you're creating a connection between one node and the many nodes that you're adding in the hidden layers, and then adjusting the weights that connect them. So as you can see here, I added several hidden layers, and then you compile it, and then you have to pass it training input depending on whether you crashed or whether you have been successful. So that's where I am with the project now, and I look forward to working on it in the weeks to come. Thank you.